All right, so Stephen, back in October when we saw that strike, a lot of concern was about the holiday season. Obviously, we're in just a different period of time right now. What's the biggest concern when we look at a possible port strike when it comes to your industry?
Well, look, you mentioned it before. 50% of all of our apparel, footwear, accessories come in through those ports. It's a huge transit point for us, and this is coming really at a time when we're still dealing with, the chaos of potential new tariffs coming in. We're still trying to manage the costs and the problems associated with the Houthi terrorist attacks over the Red Sea. There's a lot of logistics concerns still coming out of that. And so at a time when we're really trying to find more predictability, to find that we're still dealing with yet another potential strike. Again, this wasn't resolved a couple of months ago. We're still dealing with another potential strike. It's really coming at the worst time. And as companies are really trying to bring in product, both ahead of potential new tariffs as well as trying to manage spring and summer deliveries, this is coming at the wrong time.
All right. We also want to welcome in Chris Swanger, President and CEO of the Distilled Spirits Council. Chris, good morning, and thanks for joining us. I want to ask you the same question. Bit of a different time period. Back in October, we were worried about the holiday season. Just a different time. We're in the new year. As we look at the new year, the potential of a port strike, what does it mean for your industry?
High octane time for the distilled spirits industry. 77% of our exports of distilled spirits products come out of these ports and go to markets all around the world. And 43% of the imports come into these ports. So we're very anxious, and we certainly call on the Biden administration and the incoming President Trump to be engaged and make sure that the parties find some common ground and avoid this strike.
Well, Chris, you're leading me to my next question. I want to ask you, has your organization, have you been in touch with the current administration or the incoming administration to express your concerns? I want to ask, what have you heard back?
Absolutely. Well, we certainly know that everybody is working hard to try to find some common ground. It is imperative. Our industry, as Stephen just mentioned, is facing a 50% tariff on American whiskey at the end of March. So when you have the looming port strike, the impact on the economy and the hospitality industry in the United States, it would be significant. Just a one-day strike would have major disruptions for the distilled spirits and hospitality industry, for weekend delays in supply chain movement. So our member companies are looking at contingency plans, obviously, but all of those are at a high cost, and we're just hoping things get resolved as soon as possible.
So, Stephen, similar question for you. You also mentioned tariffs before. Have you been in touch with the incoming administration or the current administration? And when you're talking to them, are you just talking about your concerns when it comes to a port strike? Or are you also voicing some concerns about the addition of possible tariffs and what that could mean for the U.S. supply chain and for the organizations in your group?
Well, we're talking about both potential of a port strike as well as incoming tariffs. Look, the stakes are really too high to let a stalemate over automation lead to a new strike. Frankly, we think it's time to get the USMX to invest more in technology, not less in technology. Think about it. The most efficient U.S. port, Charleston, is ranked 53rd globally. So, as we're talking to, for example, the new Trump team coming in, you can't have a, make America great again concept where the most efficient port doesn't even break the top 50 globally. We think it's the time to use technology to make those ILA workers even more competitive, more efficient. Frankly, we hope they'll be demanding they get more training on these technologies. So we think this is really an opportunity to keep everybody at the table and to make sure that we can be celebrating this new agreement well before President Trump is inaugurated on January 20th.
Chris, coming back over to you. Do you also have a take on this dispute between the port operators and the port workers, especially when it comes to automation? That seems to really be the only sticking point between the two sides.
Yeah, we don't take sides one way or the other than the fact that these matters need to get resolved, obviously. And AI is going to play an important role, but obviously there's strong interest by the labor market to preserve those jobs as well. So there has to be a way forward, and we will appreciate this thing getting resolved in the next couple of days because it's going to have an impact on the economy and certainly on the great distilled spirits industry.